All right. Peace and love, everyone. Another episode here of the Mind, Body, Energy, and Balance podcast. Audio and everything good? Oh, can
Mhm.
you hear me? I hit
Yes.
my. Why this thing blinking? The microphone, I hit it and it started blinking. I don't know if that was a pause or what, but anyway, welcome to reality podcasting, y'all. Um, so mind, body, energy, and balance. I'm your host, Samut, and I'm here with my producer extraordinaire and co-host, Flaw 700. What's up, Flaw?
Hey, what's going on? Happy Father's Day to the fathers out there.
Absolutely. Happy Father's Day, y'all. Let's celebrate that. Before we get into it, I want to open the episode as we always do, giving praise and honor to those great ancestors upon whose shoulders that we stand. All technology, all civilization attributes created by the ancestors of African people. We give you great salute, honor, and praise. For it were not for your wisdom, your healing, your care, your uh, tenacity and ingenuity, we would not be here. Ashe, ashe, ashe.
Mhm.
So it's a Father's Day weekend. It's a Juneteenth weekend, and I know that's dating this episode, but it's historical. You know, we got to like make sure that we keep everything in order and add historical documentation to what it is that we're doing. Juneteenth weekend. Did you do anything for Juneteenth, Flo?
I do something every year for Juneteenth since
It's your
because
birthday.
well no. I don't there was this big thing, like this big boom. Like there have
Mhm,
been some that have been educated on Juneteenth since the
mhm,
beginning of time. But then there was this big boom like 2, 3 years ago. I don't know if you noticed it, where
mhm.
everybody seemed to know about Juneteenth
Right.
and everybody was doing
Mhm,
something. It was just we're gonna just buy black today. We're just gonna do
mhm,
something black today. So
mhm.
Juneteenth has been a thing for the last 3 years. COVID, I think it was around the COVID time where everybody
Right.
got to Juneteenth. Um,
Mhm.
so one of the many things that I do is we buy from black owned businesses. We only eat black owned business like food. Um,
Mhm.
I go to Alame's,
Mhm.
downtown and buy a platter and buy shirts. But you want to, I think we want to keep that same energy if that's what
Mhm.
we're doing. Because the counterpart of Juneteenth is our July 4th, and
Right.
time
Right.
a lot of times black people get criticized because they celebrate July 4th. And in a
Mhm.
sense, technically, I'll be honest, black people do not celebrate July 4th. What they celebrate is a day off.
That's right. You better
Now, what
talk about it.
now what people said is it wasn't until recently that a few employers started to give off their workers for the Juneteenth. Some
Mhm.
people do still. Some people still have to work.
Mhm.
Fortunately for me,
Mhm.
Juneteenth was one of the kickers as to what motivated me to want to do my own thing. You know,
Mhm.
uh, forgetting honestly, like working on Martin Luther King Day was one of the things where I was just like, wait, what am I doing? Something's not right here. So Juneteenth has been a motivating factor in my journey. One of the motivating factors in my journey to celebrate it, to not work on
Mhm.
that day, to do whatever it
Mhm.
is I want to do on that day. So,
Right.
and Juneteenth has been playing a part in my life for the last few years. So I'm
Mhm.
ready for it.
Mhm.
You're
All
welcome
right.
to all the people. June, yeah, my birthday, Father's Day, Juneteenth. You welcome. This
It's
is
a
a week.
whole weekend vibe. I mean, it's all right together. Your birthday, born day, Flaw. Let's all say
Yeah,
happy born day to Flaw 700. We need
yeah.
some
Thank
kind of
you, thank
sound
you.
effects, clapping, cheering, some old stuff.
I'm pretty sure I got something. Hold on, hold on,
All
hold on,
right.
hold on. I always got something. Can you hear that?
Hey, yeah, I can hear it. Hey.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Uh-huh. So yeah, so well for Juneteenth every year for the past few years, like you said, the last 3 or 4 years, it's kind of like really been a on people's minds. It's kind of like really present. New Jersey, I think, was one of the first states in the recent time to make Juneteenth a state holiday where you're off, and then the federal government says you could be off for Juneteenth. And for those people who are not sure what Juneteenth is, after Lincoln declared that captured Africans, us in this country, were so-called free from indentured or chattel slavery. Um, Galveston, Texas, the plantation owners in Galveston, Texas, did not tell their um, people, their so-called slaves. They just kept them working for 2 years, and finally, uh, a United States Army general marched into Galveston and said, "Listen, we understand y'all are not following what has happened. These people don't have to work for y'all for free no more." So they told all of the captured Africans, the slaves, that you are now free. And that was 2 years later. The general came in on June 19th, and thus became Juneteenth. June 19th, 1865 is the recorded date. So that's what Juneteenth came from. But here in this area, I have long been involved in our African history and African cultural community dynamics. And so for the past 4 years or 3 years, I have been the presiding libation holding space for our African spiritual cultural list within this region. So every year I open the Juneteenth celebration here by pouring libation, by making sure that those present, no matter what hue and what ancestry, that you understand that you have to tap into your ancestry and bring it forth and celebrate your ancestry. So it was a busy weekend for me in terms of the Juneteenth celebration, because they had a kickoff, then they had the big festival, and they had several lead up events as well. Sponsored by the African American Cultural Collaborative, ran by a fabulous sister, Latarsha Burke. We all grew up together here in Trenton, and she's doing some dynamic things with her cultural nonprofit. For real.
Nice.
Yeah, some people are talking about now Juneteenth is becoming co-opted though, because all right, let's just keep it 100. It seemed like black folk can't have nothing just to themselves,
No, that's
and so and so people are like, well, this is about our freedom. Why is it so many other communities, ethnic groups, and whatever? I look out on the audience, not me personally, but this is what I've heard, people discussing. Look out, and it's mostly other people that's out here and not us celebrating Juneteenth. And we have to really be cautious about using a few terms. This may be controversial for some, but I have to keep it, 100 in my perspective, in the way that I understand life to be. Controversial terms. We have to be very careful about wholeheartedly assuming and using the term people of color, because that gives permission and indeed really benefits other communities. When people say that they have programs or they have funding for people of color, if you go and check who they've shared that funding and those programs with, the majority of the time it is not foundational Black Americans. It's not us, the people who all of these rights and all of this fighting and all of this marching and all of this, these pushes that we've made to have equal respect, equal opportunity, equal, resources in this country. The resources are not really going to us, Black folk, Africans born in America, people who can say our ancestry is African. no matter how long we've been here. So the term people of color is being transmuted and used as a balance, if you will, or a relief for the corporations and the federal organizations and the municipalities and everything. Say, well, we've contributed to the minority or the people of color. Here it is, and it's all folks of other ancestry, right? And no shade to them, but the reality of it is, there is an intentional cutting out and overlooking, pushing to the side, not caring, not giving to our community, foundational Black Americans. There's an intention. And another term that we need to be concerned about adopting so easily is diversity and inclusion, because diversity and inclusion sounds fabulous, but they don't have to be diverse and include Joe Black behind. Because the term is broad and general. Diversity and inclusion is wonderful, but we need gatekeepers. We need eyes on the ground, if you will, to see and make sure that we are not being excluded from, these opportunities in the guise of, well, we're diverse, we have people from this community and that community and this community and that community. Yeah, but you ain't got no Black folk. You ain't got no foundational Black American who fought for all of these changes and these so-called rights and equality to happen in this country. Ain't nobody coming to this country getting benefits that's not standing on our backs. And I've said that a few episodes. I will continue to say it forever and ever, because it's the truth. So we have to make sure that we are recipients, of all of the funding and the beneficial programs and stuff that will help us not have to bootstrap businesses, and, fair housing, beautiful housing, and access to whatever good and quality resources that we help to build in these here United States, as they would say. So just be careful about wholly adopting. I remember I was on a committee. I don't mean to be so long-winded, Flaw, but it's just a stream of consciousness, right?
Mhm.
I was on a committee, and it was several of us on the committee, all foundational Black Americans born here, ancestry here for hundreds of years or whatever. And the one of the participants on the committee wanted to include people from a very suburban region. That's a code word. Primarily, white American region. She wanted to include their ancestry in this decidedly African ancestry event that we were doing. And so she was using the term people of color. Oh, we can bring in people of color. And so I'm listening, and I'm listening very intently and carefully as to what she's saying about including these people of color. And so I asked in the meeting, I ain't make no friends that day, but let me just say, I asked in a meeting, I said, well, excuse me, ma'am, what do you mean by people of color? Like, what does that term mean? And she was like, oh, well, people who do not have white ancestry, or don't profess themselves to be white. I mean, people of color. I say, okay, I hear what you're saying. So can you expound? What are the people of color? And then she began to name Asian people. She began to name Latino people. She began to name people who were biracial, but did not identify with one side or the other. And again, no disrespect to any of those people. I love everybody, but I can't love others more than I love our own. And the truth be told, when we put the magnifying glass up, hell, you don't even need a magnifying glass. Just look out the window with your two eyes, or four of them if you wear glasses like me, and you
Mhm.
can see the real challenges that foundational Black Americans in this country are having. So we have to love and include everybody in our love expression. But we must feed, clothe, and take care of and uplift and secure the people from our backyard that look just like us. It's just not even up for question. And anybody who questions that is really about your oppression.
Hmm.
Anybody who takes offense to that is really about, you know, you not getting the notice that slavery is ended. It's no slight to no one else, but there's a song. God bless the child who's got his own. God bless the child who cares for his own. And to me, that's what it is all about. So the Juneteenth celebrations are going on all over the country, which is great. We just have to be mindful that it becomes and it stays, African foundational Black American centered and not be co-opted by, these various communities or these various initiatives that say, well, it should be about people of color, which was not the case in Galveston, Texas in 1863 or 1865. Folk out there working, black as night, the people of color was the color. So, that's my only thing that I caution us about. We're doing great, but we just need to stay ahead of it in terms of the Juneteenth piece for sure. Hmm.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
really all you can do is continue to have the conversation. And piggybacking off what I said earlier, is just you don't want Juneteenth just to be the cookout day, which is
Right.
what we had July 4th for. Like we know what
Hmm.
July 4th stood for. But at the same time, you still have some people who won't stand for the national anthem. You still won't have you people who just celebrate certain holidays just for having off from work and the
Hmm.
cookout. But with
Right.
Juneteenth is, what I'm taking from you is we understand that Juneteenth is now a day off for some and it's a celebration, but let's not forget what
Hmm.
the celebration is about.
Right.
And if you fall asleep at the wheel, they'll take it
Right.
and
Right.
it'll turn into another day on the calendar. And the kids that come after us will just say, "Hey, Juneteenth," and not know anything about it. So yeah,
Right.
don't take your eye off the ball, take your eye off the wheel, take your eye off the road. We must
Hmm.
remember what Juneteenth is. And I brought that up because, like I said, during
Hmm.
COVID time, I remember what we were doing.
Right.
It was an energy. It was
Mm.
this black entrepreneur selling this, only buy that.
Mhm.
This
Mhm.
black business is selling this, only eat there today. And we did that. But do you know how black folks are?
Right.
Year 2, year 3, it kind of falls off. Year 4, year
Mhm.
5, it kind of so we have to keep that same energy. And I hope to see that energy this coming Monday. And also, just to piggyback off what you were saying too, like when you said
Mhm.
we love each other, and this is a previous episode, but we don't trust each other.
Right. Right.
So it's so related to the black business because what
Mhm.
do we always say when it's time for if a black establishment messes up an order of ours,
Oh my Lord, have mercy.
real quick to tell the world how
Right.
bad, but we never talk about the time I
Right.
asked McDonald's for no onions and they gave it to me anyway.
Right.
Or the time they gave me cold fries and I had to talk to a manager to get fresh fries.
Right.
Um, but if a black-owned business one time doesn't make the order the way I say, we take to social media and we bury them.
Mhm.
So the reason why I bring that up is because there was a big surge, like I said, 3 years ago when it comes to Juneteenth and celebrating black businesses.
Mhm.
Um, Continue to support those black businesses. I hope you get what you ordered. I hope you fulfill your purpose. But what we have to do is, the same way we, handle business anywhere else. Talk to a manager
Mhm.
politely. Hopefully, the manager can resolve things and go about your business. But poor
Mhm.
black business does not need a social media post. So you go, yeah, I went there too. And no,
Mhm.
don't do that to each other. So I want to see if the energy has changed, is because something has happened. We're either distracted
Mhm.
or we just it was one of them things, one of those adrenaline rushes where people heard about Juneteenth for the first time. Because you could
Right.
tell people didn't know what it was. So everybody got excited. Yeah,
Yep.
black, black. What? This is an every year thing. This is an
Mhm.
everyday thing.
That's right.
If you keep the momentum up, you will see that energy. So I'm waiting to see how we'll
Mhm.
react on this Juneteenth day.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of the celebrations were yesterday or over the weekend. And, again, I don't care if it's a cookout every year, if it turns into a family cookout every year. To me, that's all good as long as there's some acknowledgement of why we are off and why we are cooking out,
But
to
it's like,
even
yeah,
get, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, baby.
I'm sorry, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's like July 4th. They'll always, you
Mm-hmm.
know, throw the American flag in there, let you know this is about independence. Enjoy your food, but they'll let you
Mm-hmm.
know
Mm-hmm.
any behind July 4th. So we have to, like you said, continue
Mm-hmm.
to, put some type of message out there.
That's right. We do. So we got to stay on it, just like our culture, all in all. Another celebration is Father's Day. So, I was looking at some history of, family, the black family, right? So let me start off by saying that the black family, um, any family, is the foundation upon which wealth, which healthy, strong, vital communities and villages are built. The family is the foundation. The family, in fact, is the first corporation. It's the first cooperation and it's the first corporation. So, if you don't have a viable family unit or viable family units intact, then the chances of taking your place alongside the elite, the wealthy, the strong, the vital communities that make up a country, that make up a village, that make up a world are very, very minimal. You know, it is the same formula that has worked in time immemorial, and it's the same formula that's going to continue to work. The family unit is the way in which you create successful, sustainable family wealth, health, and legacy. Now, knowing that is the formula for foundational Black Americans, and I keep using that term because that's different than a lot of that puts things kind of in perspective. Foundational Black Americans means that our family lineage built this country. We were here, been here for hundreds of years, if not thousands of years. Foundational. So, with the intention of destroying the foundational Black American family structure, it began in slavery. There is a gentleman named, last name Raves, and we can look it up and include it in the video aspect of our podcast here, who died in 1958 from slavery, but he had 200 children because he was a breeder. He was a stud on the plantations in South Carolina. And he was isolated to only be a breeder. No connection to the women, the girls, or the children that the women that he bedded, and the children that came from those connections. And so he died in 1958. We could put the history of that up, like I said, through the video aspect of our podcast, which you'll find on our YouTube channel. But there has been an intentional destruction of the Black father in the home, the greatness of who he is, the beauty and the love and the necessity for him within our communities. It's intentional. Right up from 1777 or whenever, all the way up to yesterday, to today. Black fathers, African American fathers, foundational Black American fathers are the endangered species of the world. of the world because he is the protector and the provider of the women and children. And if the women and children do not have a protector and and provider and the love of a man who is unto himself a man, then the children and the women are fair game for the other predators of the world. And that is the, you know, undisputable truth of what is happening. I'm taking a pause so you can share, Flaw, or are you just like
No, I can. Over the years, I've heard and experienced. Like, I saw this one post yesterday, and I don't think I completely agree with it. But the message is the
Mhm,
message where if the dad can't afford the children, he goes to jail. Mother can't afford the children, she goes welfare. So
right.
they've built this division between the
Mhm,
man, the black man, and the family, um,
mhm,
where if you want this place, you can't bring a man in there with you.
mhm,
Uh, so where does the man go after that? In a
right.
sense like that. Personally, me, the generation of that I came up in
Mhm,
as young men, I had a child, you know, 17, 18. I was 18 when he was born.
mhm,
And I already knew that I wanted to be in his life because of what previous fatherhood showed to us. So you had a
mhm,
collection of guys born in the 80s, looking like this ain't it. And this is not what we want for our kids whenever we have kids.
mhm,
And I think for some, it didn't condition us to love anybody else
right,
but the journey of being great fathers.
right,
Because I had to sit back and go, well, when was I going to be passionate about being in a relationship with a woman?
right.
Right? I'm only
Mhm,
passionate about being a father because of what we lacked. So we kind of go after
mhm,
what we didn't have. We wasn't talking about I can't wait to be a great husband.
right,
I can't wait to be
right,
a great partner. We didn't talk about. We said I can't wait if the opportunity
right.
presents itself. I'm gonna make sure I'm in my kid's life. What does that
Mhm,
look? What does that mean? Don't
mhm,
know. You're at war with a father figure that wasn't there, basically.
mhm,
Be better than my
mhm,
dad. I'm gonna listen to my dad. So the division, yeah, I understand about the division that you talk about. It's something that you think that's not there, but it is there because at one time when the families
mhm,
were separated, it caused so many ripples to happen that now you're holding on to what you think is uh, you know, what you value.
right,
But when you value this one particular thing, you
mhm,
can lack other things. And by the
right.
time you figure it out, you're like, well, how did we get here? Now, how
That's
do we
right.
fix this? But, it's up for, people like us, my generation to have that conversation with the generation now after us, because what is it that they want? So we're already far removed from man, woman, and child in one roof, right?
Mhm,
Because our generation, we didn't give that to them either. Some of them. There's a lot of married black people in the world. Just like you said, don't let the news fool you.
mhm.
But they
Right,
won't
right,
show you
right,
that. They won't show
right,
you that. So if they don't show you that, technically it doesn't exist.
right.
Because what only exists is what they keep pouring in your face.
That's right.
So you go, what do the kids want now? It seems like
Mhm,
kids don't even want children. Like
mhm,
that's now the next step.
mhm,
They want less responsibility. They want less of everything. And they want to do less. So every generation there's a different challenge, but it all came from the domino effect of the man being separated from home. And now what family looks like today is whatever they can think of it looks like and makes them happy. And that's I
yep,
think where we're at.
right.
Still no structure. Still
Mhm,
no, how many questions? And the podcasting is great.
mhm,
Podcast, we're all generally having the same conversation.
mhm,
We're all kind of lost
mhm,
because of how it broke down before. When, like you just said, this guy had 200 children, he's a breeder. It
Yep.
was a recipe for disaster for us.
Yep. And
We,
there
we
were hundreds of brothers who were isolated to be breeders, who, were put a bag over their head and a bag over the woman's head or the girl's head, the young girl. She could have been, as soon as she started getting her period, she was up for to be, impregnated. And if it was his sister, his mother, his dear auntie, it did not matter. They would just make him and push him in the room and say, get in there, and get it, or you gonna get killed or she gonna get killed or whatever. And that brutality is a DNA memory. Like there is the first cell of humanity, that was the first cell, is still within all humans. That's science. That is metaphysics. That is physics, not just metaphysics. That's universal law. Cells, nothing can be, matter cannot be destroyed. It can only be recreated and transmuted. So the ancient memory of the trauma is why we have keep producing the trauma, and the exclusion and the destruction of the Black family, is because there is an ancient wound there. There's an ancient wound there that we have to heal. There is no man on the planet Earth greater than the Black man. There is not. All other men are fabulous and in their own right, but there's no man who is as magnificent when he's in his manhood for real than the Black man. It's just not, it's just, nobody else compares, really. You
well, I
can clip that
agree.
up. Of course, I hope you do agree.
Yeah. And just like we were saying, if we need a reminder,
Mhm.
let's just say you need a reminder. I think
Mhm.
that the assassinations of Malcolm X,
Mhm.
Martin Luther
Yep.
King, the
Yep.
Black Panther Party, whenever there was a time for a black man to step up, they will let you know it's not happening, and they'll
Yep.
tell you, yeah, we did it.
Yep.
They'll tell you, yeah, Martin Luther King was it was a hit.
Yep.
It was a job. It was a CIA.
Mhm.
It was this. They'll tell you that,
Mhm.
but they know that they can control you with fear so much. They'll look you in the eyes and tell you, "Yeah, we did it." And the message is, don't
Yep.
step up. Stay in line and
That's right.
do what we tell you to do.
That's right.
Live this life, and just any one of y'all try to put these families back together, it's going to be trouble.
Mhm. That's right.
So and then fast forward once again, the COVID era. We had a whole
Mhm.
slew of cops killing black men and boys,
Mhm.
and we all would sit around, wait and see, and they'd be like, "Not guilty," and then it's a control factor. We have to
Yep.
control them to let them
Mhm.
know that we can get away with this. You can't. The big
Mhm.
argument was, well, what about you guys in your own community? Stop killing it. Well, I mean, that could be true. But what
Yeah.
also is true is we pay you to
That's right.
help us
That's
with the
right. That's right.
so
That's
for
right.
you to turn around and
Mhm.
and everybody's defense is, well, you guys kill each other all the time.
That's ridiculous. That's a ridiculous argument because it is short-sighted as to what is really going on.
Yeah.
But the reality of it is that the police were never created, instituted for Black Americans'
Yeah.
protection. They were
They were created to
instituted.
recapture us, right?
That's right. Instituted and created to corral us and keep us in order, And one of the things, my thing is, okay, we understand the problem. Let's be solution oriented. We could rehash the problem. So many people have talked about the problem of, foundational Black Americas in our country. You know what I'm saying? We just could talk about it, but what's the solution? Well, the solution is move in silence within your tribe, you know? Do what you need to do. Find like minded people, just like we talked about a couple of episodes ago in terms of building your family wealth. And we're going to be having many more of those conversations. Not everybody in the tribe or in your family can you build wealth with. Same is true for restoring the family structure. One of the worst things is to highlight every move that you're making on this big brother dynamic, going back to, this digital era that we're looking at, because I know within my spirit, this is the same scenario in the 21st century as the so-called Pharaoh looking for the Messiah. Who is it that has come to save them? Put it out there. Just give them a platform where they can share all of their greatness, and let's see who we need to take down. Move in silence. Shut up. Cut it off. Put it down and bond with your family and grow roots so deep that it don't matter if the onslaught come, because another branch, another shoot is going to come up. Another seedling is going to come up. Move in silence with your tribe, because they're watching for a reason. All of this visibility is to our detriment, for real. Now we have those of us like us who are planting seeds of love and of healing and of togetherness and of, godly direction, positive, high-spirited direction. But the majority of it is, world star and some old, nonsense. And that's to keep you confused about what you really need to be doing. You got to put put these tell-alls down, the cameras and all that. You don't have to post everything that's going on in your life, especially if you have young boys, because again, they are in the crosshairs. Our babies, our young men are in the crosshairs. They are who we have to protect as much as possible. And so celebrating Black fathers, is really, we have to work through a lot of healing in his spirit and in our spirits as Black women. We have to work through a lot of healing and just do meditations and visualizations of seeing the men in our sphere, because you can only really control your 6 feet, your family extension, of seeing the men in our spheres, surrounded and protected and cared for and vital, and shut up and just keep that healing energy to, growing and flowing. We got to celebrate our Black fathers.
Hmm.
We can't, and it ain't about perfection. You can't be comparing your man to another woman's man whose situation was never broken at the DNA level. You can't compare him to somebody else's man. Well, look what he doing. Look at the Latinos, what they doing for their family. Look at the Jewish people, what they doing for their family. Look at the African-born continental Africans. Look how they all work together. Okay. What is it? Colonialism is different than chattel slavery. It's a mind assault nonetheless. It's a family structure assault nonetheless. It is a destruction of an entire people nonetheless, but it's different. The psychology is different. So we can't compare our foundational Black American men to no other man in the world. Indeed, he is, even with all of the brokenness, he still is the emulation everybody want to be. The swagger comes from this soil right here and permeates throughout the whole world. Right? I saw a Joe Coy, who is a Filipino comedian. And I like Joe Coy, because again, everybody's cultures, but he did his comedy show from the Philippines. And he just wanted to show the world what was authentically Filipino. They was doing breakdancing and wearing their pants sagging. Not that that's nothing we want the world, but I'm just saying. They were emulating foundational Black men. And I was looking at it and I'm like, y'all gonna just let him get away with saying that? That this is authentically Filipino? It is not. Unless Somebody from the Bronx went to the Philippines and got breakdancing and brought it to the Bronx back in the 1960s or 70s or whatever.
That's
So
a
I'm
that's a can of worms. That's the biggest for me.
Mhm.
That's the biggest can of worms is that
Uh-huh.
we created in hip hop is the biggest hip hop like you put hip hop next to real estate when it
Right.
comes to the
Oh, come on
foundation
now.
of
Come on now.
generational wealth and building businesses and we don't own it and we created it. It's like
Mhm.
they keep saying like you said earlier, black people can have nothing. And it seems like all we keep doing is just keeping invent, reinvent, reinvent.
Mhm.
But what
Mhm.
we had in our hands before we knew it, hip hop, it is now. So when you say
Mhm.
the Philippines or anybody, this is
Mhm.
all they do.
Yep.
The Kardashians, the women, what
Right.
do they look like?
Yep.
Any
Come
type of
on
clothes.
now.
Who do they dress like? Who do they talk like? I'm in the
Mhm.
gym yesterday and I
Mhm.
wanted to try out this new gym. I'm not gonna say the name or where it's at, but it was,
Yeah.
pretty dope.
Yeah.
And it was filled with everybody you could think of, no matter
Mhm.
what race was in there. But you know what they were playing?
Mm. Come on.
Wasn't not one other it was all
Yep.
rap, and it was N-word this, N-word that,
Oh,
but everybody was there.
yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So it's crossed over. Like the gym had a DJ,
Mhm.
and they were celebrating their new facilities outside
What?
gym. Yeah, it's an outside gym, and they was even
Mhm.
on the grill. They were grilling.
What?
Juneteenth? I don't know. When they celebrated, I don't know. But they had the grill, they
Right.
had the DJ, and
Uh-huh.
everybody was feeling so good because the
Mhm.
music was blasting and everybody was getting the pumping. All the young
Mhm.
kids had their shirts off. I said, give me a month or two. I'm coming."
What you talking about? You good now, Flo?
Listen, them 20-year-olds and their testosterone is something different. Them 20-year-olds, they are different.
Yeah.
They are ahead of the game. They don't have
Mhm.
to catch up like, some of us
Yeah.
did. Like, you know what?
Yeah.
They're there now. But basically hip hop and so just piggybacking off what you were saying about, just
Mhm.
hip hop and the break dancing and everything,
Mhm.
the graffiti, the slang, the talking, everything
Mhm.
we've ever invented, we own nothing of it.
Mhm.
And we just
That's
keep
right.
going. I mean, we have more billionaires than before, but what are we
Yep.
billionaires of? Sharing product with somebody else. I like
Yep.
these guys don't really own these liquor
Mhm.
brands, these clothing lines, these stores, they're not
Mhm.
100% owners of anything, but hip hop was actually ours and it's the
Mhm.
biggest
Yep.
next to real estate because real estate has been here since the Columbus came and took it from the Native Americans.
That's
Real
right.
estate has been the biggest, money maker in the United States
Mhm.
since it before it was called the United States. And hip hop, if you think about it, is
Mhm.
the second, it's the greatest thing ever invented, and it was
Yep.
ours. We did that just
Yep.
just because we just wanted to because of the poverty that we were in, and we just
Mhm.
wanted to have a good time. You know that better than me.
Mhm.
I just hear stories about how it started in the Bronx and how it just went from here to it was the Bronx because they had
Yep.
nothing.
Yep.
Fires, welfare, poor, crack,
Mhm.
and they created hip hop out of it,
Yep.
and we don't even
And
know it.
that's how we've done for centuries. It is the famous saying is necessity is the mother of invention. So our ancestors out there in the fields of Georgia and North Carolina and Virginia and wherever else pulling up cotton and tobacco and everything. And they said, well, damn, I'm out here sun up to sunset. It's got to be an easier way to do this ish. And they came up with the cotton gin, which made the capacity, the work that they were doing less backbreaking. And we can go from time immemorial to yesterday. That even in this last century, who knew that the way the United States got to the moon was from black women? The
Yeah,
ingenuity of black women that they used to call the computer, the collective of black women who put the figures together to allow them to land to fly up to and land successfully on a whole nother planet was created by Black women that they used to call, these are the let's go to the computer. Let's go talk to the computer, right? Black men, the brother who created the chip that, or the algorithm that created the internet. It's us. And not saying, again, people want to take shit out of context and bill you as some whatever, but it's ridiculous. Nobody is slighting no other people's contribution. We are just signifying, highlighting, and memorializing our contribution. And like my grandmama used to say, it's a po dog won't wag his own tail. You got to celebrate your own ish. So the reality of it is we have to love our men. We just do. It ain't even a question. It shouldn't even be up for a question. We both hurt. We both are, under assault. And the tricknology, the trickonery, if you will, is to have Black women looking outside of our men for what we need. That's the trick out. That's the trickonery, right? Is that, oh, look how they so raggedy. Child ain't, you can't do nothing with them. And true indeed, a lot of our brothers are broken and need a lot of care, but it's us. Now we can't permit people to just treat us any kind of way, but we can't totally give up on our men either. So we have to celebrate and love our Black fathers for sure. Not just on one day a year, but the Black fathers who are really doing. And I'm going to end on this point. Recently, Mama Yoga Wellness, which is my brand, that provides courses and trainings to schools and corporations and such on mindfulness, wellness, nutrition, and everything. We were at Donuts for Dads Day here in the city of Trenton, where one of the schools, shout out to Principal Paula Bethea. We love her. We've had generations of our children under her tutelage as the principal of Joyce Kilmer School here in the Trenton Public School System. She's also connected to our family. She and my mom used to work together. My mom was her wedding planner, and just like all the connection, right? So she had Donuts for Dad's Day, her and her staff at her school. African American, foundational Black American fathers. There was more than 60, 100 fathers at that event. Fathers, men, Black men, there with their children. Where was the media? Right? Here in Trenton, where all they want to talk about is people shooting up, gang them up, or whatever, which is really across the world the minority of what is happening. But the minority gets amplified so big that now you have in your consciousness that that's really what is happening all the time. But there was close to, if not 100, at least close to 100 Black fathers at that school celebrating their children and being celebrated. And I put them through quite a yoga session, honey. Let me just tell you, they was not expecting it, because some of their pants was a little too tight, but they worked it out. I'm just saying, like, we got to celebrate the fathers who are doing well, who are good men, doing the best they can. We got to get behind them as best we can, and celebrate and keep looking for the good in our men, because it's us.
I went to a Donuts for Dads 2
Hmm.
weeks ago. My son
Yeah.
had one, so multiple schools are having them. And first off, I was offended. Probably
Why?
shouldn't have been, but that's just me thinking,
Hmm.
because the flyer said dads or whoever can attend.
Mm.
They don't believe in us. That's my feeling.
Wow.
I think,
Wow.
meaning uncle, brother, because they didn't
Mhm.
expect the turnout.
Mhm.
But then when we got there, I don't know if she was jiving or what, but she just was
Mhm.
like, "This is a bigger turnout than the mothers."
That's
So
how it was too. At the
yeah,
school that it was a lot. It was a
yes,
lot of men. Yeah.
yep.
Well, I mean, the whole whoever can attend, and then we could wrap up this Father's Day, because I want to talk about one more thing throughout this episode. But the I know said we was wrapping up like 5 minutes ago. But anyway, the whoever can attend when it comes to asking fathers to come and celebrate their children or whatever, be present for their children. Um, I got into a bit of a discussion, as you know, I don't know why I got all this fire on me in this lifetime, honey, but
Mhm.
I got into a bit of a discussion with some women because, one of the women said, well, okay, tell your husbands or your children's fathers happy Father's Day. And one of the other women was like, well, I'm my kid's father, and when women take that position, it's really a position of hurt, right? It's a position of, disappointment and hurt when you say, well, I'm my kid's father. Because the reality of it is, no matter what popular media tells you, we all need the mother and the father. You just need the balance of energies, and the balance of perspective and the presentation of what each person in their personhood can offer. So I was like, well, how could how could you be like you're not your kid's father? You may be double duty mama. Maybe your child's father is not available for whatever reason, but that I'm my kid's father to me is spoken out of anger, of hurt, of disappointment, of being alone in your journey, for whatever reason, raising your child. And I would just encourage us to move to healing away from that, because then you set up the next generation, which has been done, to not revere, appreciate, respect, or even see the need for the father in your child's life and in your life as a woman, so it's Father's Day for a
Mhm.
reason. Happy Father's Day to all of the fathers who are fathers.
So to the fathers out there, my energy
Mhm,
is this. And what time is it? Around like 3, almost 4. Who knows if you're already disappointed? Because we see a lot of, they're just
mhm.
gonna give me a card, an empty card, or they give me a toolbox so I can fix something. It's yeah, it's your day. So plan
Right.
accordingly. Celebrate you and
Mhm,
don't wait for someone because that was my energy this week. Like I said, birthday,
mhm,
Father's Day. I did what I want.
mhm.
I didn't sit
Yeah.
around and go, well, just turned 40 and nobody
Mhm,
or not enough people.
mhm.
Expectations, not enough. I didn't receive as many as I would
Mhm.
like. Not saying that that
Right.
was the case. Or the specific person didn't wish me happy birthday. Now I'm miserable. It's your birthday.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's your birthday. It's your Father's Day. It's you celebrating
Mhm,
a year. The
mhm,
365 days that accomplish as being a father.
mhm.
Father's Day, and
That's right.
you did a great job this last year.
Mhm,
Great job this last year to the fathers. At least
mhm,
the fathers that I know. I don't know if they'd be dads.
mhm,
We all did a good job, and just celebrate us together. Celebrate
mhm,
you, and nobody should get into the way. I think that
mhm,
a lot of times in the process of a black man being
mhm.
happy, it's, well, what's he happy for if I ain't happy?
Right, 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 right.
Be related to things that have nothing to do with you celebrating Father's Day, but
Mhm.
toxic relationships won't allow you to celebrate small things on your own.
Right.
Like, I have to do this and with you, or
Mhm.
you have to plan something for me. How do you know I want any
Mhm. Right.
how do you know I want to go to this restaurant and eat that? You don't know. Unless I told you, or unless you know my favorite restaurant. Just there's a few things, but we got to stop letting other people celebrate our lives for us. I was
Mhm.
asked if I wanted a birthday party. I said, no, I don't want one.
Yeah, we know.
But yeah, yeah, I don't want one.
Right, right.
I'm
Well,
yeah.
go ahead, baby. I'm sorry.
I'm saying I'm good, but I am going to take the rest of this day
Mhm.
after we off this pod. I was going to go to the gym, but I'm not. I'm going to
Mhm.
rest. I've been running all week,
Yeah.
and I'm going to rest and put some movies on. I'm going to relax, and that is celebration is too.
That's
Relax.
right.
Have to do.
Whatever works for you is the celebration that you need
Yeah.
to have. Absolutely. Yeah. So I appreciate having that discourse about celebrating and loving our Black fathers. So I want to take the time to let everyone know you can follow me on Instagram at Mama Yoga Wellness, and follow our podcast page, which is My MBE. My MY, like Mama Yoga, MBE, mind, body, energy, MBE. Follow us, and that way you can keep up on the latest of what's happening, what's going on. For instance, I just ordered more of my chakra healing and balance books. It's in a workbook format, and you can go to my link tree on Instagram and order it. You can also get it as an ebook, and we want to make sure that we understand that our energy is what attracts, repels, protects, and has universal life force, submitting and assisting us with the things that we want in our life. And so the chakra healing and balance workbook and ebook versions are going to explain to you how to use crystals, what the chakras are, where they're located, how to use aromatherapy, what mantras to use, what affirmations to use to bring your mind, body, and energy into alignment. So you can reach out to my link tree there. Also, please go on to Spotify, um, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts, and like our show, and leave us a review. That will really be helpful. We are intent on growing our podcast and sharing this message. We have a lot of things planned, but most of it is dependent upon consistency and um, y'all's interest. So if we gain your trust, your interest of what we are sharing, then we can do more things like meetups and conferences and events, the Mind Body Energy Show, gatherings, and such. So we want you to go and like our show, share our show, and subscribe, please, to let the algorithms know you want to hear more of what we are sharing. Right, Flo?
Absolutely. Share, 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 share. That's the biggest thing is sharing. You know,
Hmm. Absolutely, absolutely. So I think we can end our show here. That was good. Unless you had something you want to share, dear.
I'm ready to relax.
You ready to relax?
I'm ready to put a movie on and relax.
All right, now that is sure enough what's up. So listen, take care of yourself, love one another, care for one another, and remember to keep your mind, body, and energy in balance. Till next time, peace and love.
Mhm.